Hey guys! Today's video is talking about Passé and Retiré. I ended up having a lot to say on this subject and the end video was over 20 minutes long, so I decided to divide it into two videos. Today we're just going to go over what Passé and Retiré mean, as well as a good place to start with the placement of your foot as far as I teach my students. Like I say in the video, make sure you're always listening to what your teacher wants. But today I just go over what I teach my students, a few things to think about, and then we'll finish with a Passé and Retiré combination at the end. Let's get into the video. Hey guys! Today I want to talk about Passé and Retiré. So now Passé means past, and it's actually the action of bringing your foot up and over from the front to the back, or up and over from the back to the front. And retiré means withdrawn. This is actually the position that we're in when we do most of our balances or our pirouettes. So now, a lot of times these terms get used interchangeably, and that'll be something that I'll talk about a little bit more at the end of this video. But for today, let's just talk about the placement of your legs in these positions and what we're really working for when we do a Passé or a Retiré. The first thing that I want to talk about is where you place your toe in Retiré. There are different schools of thought on this, so I'll go over a few points, but remember that it's always best to listen to whatever your teacher is telling you. Now, for my beginners and my younger students, I teach them to put the toe right below the kneecap. So there's kind of like a little dimple there where the pinky toe can go right below the kneecap. This is a good place to start because everyone's bodies are different, especially if you're growing or you just have limited access to flexibility in your hip, and you never want to go really lower than that, because the moment you go lower than your knee, you can see that my thigh starts to go down on a diagonal, and we really want this thigh to be held up in kind of a parallel position to the floor. So right at that kneecap is a great place to start. Now, if you're more advanced or your teacher is encouraging you to do so, you'll see a lot of professional or older students taking their toe to right above their knee. And again, I feel like there's kind of a little dimple there as well for your toe to go to, right above the knee. Again, you're holding it up from your thigh and you're not crunching your toes to hold it. It's your leg that's holding your foot in that position. The problems that we can get into when we take our leg into a higher retiré is the hips can get out of whack. Whenever you're doing a retiré or a passé, you want your hips to stay level. That's why sometimes you'll see dancers have the belts on that go right around their hips, and they're a different color. Those are called hip alignment belts, and they can help the dancer just to see if their hips are making a straight line or if they're cockeyed like that. So when you bring your leg up into the retiré or the passé, you want to feel this hip is still down and it's not hiking up with the leg. And so the height of your retiré or passé is really determined by the ability to keep your hips level and flat. Along with that issue, another issue you can see when you're bringing your retiré or passé a little too high for your technique or your body is if your toes are kind of crunching and resting here on the supporting leg. See how my toes are kind of mushed into my supporting leg, and I'm really kind of using it almost as a prop. I've even seen students grab their toe and put it up there. That is not what we want at all, okay? I always tell them this is yoga and this is ballet. You have to hold your leg up with your muscles, not with your toe jammed into your supporting leg. So really, whether you take your foot right below your knee or right above your knee or even right to the side of your knee, but you are just keeping the pinky toe in front here. We don't want to overcross it too much where it becomes kind of like a figure four. You want to pull it back so it's just the pinky toe that's touching your supporting leg. Okay, so let's take a look at this from this side. because the rotation of your leg is really important as well in the retiré or the passe. So if you're to take a fifth position with one hand on the bar, you want to feel your toe sliding up your supporting leg the whole way up and the whole way down. Whether it's doing a retiré or if you're going up and over to the back, it's sliding down the leg. You don't want to let it disconnect, right? So you don't want to pick up your foot and be disconnected from your standing or supporting leg. So as soon as you pick your foot up, as soon as it comes off the floor, it's snapping in and drawing up, almost like a scooping motion. You want to feel like you're drawing it up. You should feel the friction on that supporting leg. I always tell my students to think about their toe being a pencil, and this is their paper. And you need to draw a straight line up and a straight line down. A lot of times you'll see this cause issues, especially when you take it into a pirouette, because if you go into a pirouette and you're disconnecting and then reconnecting, you're pulling your weight off of your center of balance. So you really want to practice, even when you're not turning, that connection to the supporting leg. So really drawing it right up and right down. Along that same line, the moment your foot comes off the floor, it's shaping. You're shaping that foot with the heel forward and the toes back so that we're not sickling at all. So from the side, take fifth position. My foot's coming up from the front. My pinky toe is going to snap in while my heel is pressing forward. So immediately I'm coming to this position, not letting my heel come in, and then my foot's going to sickle, right? So you're shaping the foot all the way up, pushing that heel forward, and that toe's connected. And you can come up and over to the back. It's the same thing if you're coming up to your retiré or your passe from the back, except you, from the back, your heel's coming in and your toes are out, right? And you come up and down the front of the leg. Now, I know there are a few different schools of thought on exactly where your toe placement is. Some people prefer your retiré to be more directly side of your knee, but I think it's a pretty common and well accepted place to put the pinky toe right in front of the knee. Of course, always listen to your teacher and what they're telling you. So what I would say is for retiré devant, your pinky toe is just in front of your kneecap. And for retiré derrière, you can either have the heel connected to the back of the knee with the toes pushing out, or you can bring it a little bit more out to where the big toe is touching the back of the knee, but you're still shaping the foot. All right, so there's lots more to say on this subject. There's so many micro details that go into everything in ballet, but I feel like especially I have lots to say when it comes to balancing and pirouettes. But I want this to be a shorter video where we just talk about the placement and the difference between retiré and passe. So let's go ahead and do a combination. We'll do fifth position, and you can put your hand on your hip or you can put your arm in first and open to second. That's up to you. But what we're going to do is we're going to draw our foot up to retiré, back to fifth, and then passe up and over to the back. And we'll go retiré, down to fifth, passe, up and over from the back. That's it. And you can repeat this as many times as you want. Make sure you do both sides. I think this is a great exercise to do regularly to really lock in the muscle memory of that position, as well as building strength in those muscles needed to balance and perform turns. If you want to do the arms, I'm going to have a little breath, and then I'll open my arm to second through first. For the retiré, we'll just bring our arm to first and down, and then passe, open the arm to second, close back. Retiré, arm to first and down, passe, up and over, open the arm to second, and then finish. All right, let's try it. Alright guys, that's it for my first video. I hope you liked it. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Next week, I'll follow up with the second video on Passé Retiré. And in that video, I'll just continue to talk about the different things that I teach my students to think about as they're approaching Passé and Retiré, as well as a good balance challenge. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or requests in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.